Welcome to the Mango Publishing Heart Wisdom panel. I'm Sherry Richert Belul, author of Say It Now, 33 Creative Ways to Say I Love You to the Most Important People in Your Life. And oh boy, am I so excited today to have Alan and Ronnie with us. And we're halfway through 2021. And I realized that and I thought, you know, we need some fun. We need some mid-year merriment. And these two just immediately came to my mind. Oh, hey, talk about fun and merriment. Hi, Rachel. These two just came to my mind. And I knew that, you know, we would just come and share. We're going to have some actual practices that we do for some awe and some gratitude. And I'm so excited. I welcome you both.
Thank you.
Yay. Ronnie, let's start with you. Tell us about your book and tell us how you started doing the work you're doing.
Oh, well, I started as a tiny child, but my book is called Gratitude with Attitude. It's a fill-in gratitude journal that is very lighthearted and fun, and it's hand drawn, and I like to call it the gratitude journal for the rest of us who see a blank page and sort of either freak out or lose interest. So I made it very easy. It's kind of like a Mad Libs idea of gratitude. And so, yeah, but I just was one of those children that just drew constantly. I wish I had my notebooks from high school because it could have been an obsession. I don't know, but all I know is I made it my living. And so through various twists and turns, I have been an illustrator for a long time, licensed my work on all kinds of products, including gift bags, gift wrap, greeting cards. If it was cute, I probably had art on it. And I also have written about that world and work with a lot of different artists. My husband and I were agents for a while, for about 13 years. We represented other artists, and I've transitioned more into a coaching style. So I work with artists to help them bring their ideas to life and bring their ideas out into the world. So that's basically what I do. And I just can't imagine having more fun at work than what I do. Because I basically was qualified to do what I do when I was like 8, but they insisted I finish school from that point on. Like, can I just quit at 6th grade? Because I know how to draw. So they did not let me do that. Anyway, that's, and then I'm here sitting on my couch talking to all of you.
Ronnie, I do have to say, like, one of the things that I love so much about you is that you always bring this humor, right? Was that developed, or is the humor, have you just always had that?
I come from a big family, and anybody that came from a big family was sort of competitive joke telling. And so we're a funny family, and I don't know. I'm one of those people that don't sit next to me at anything, because just don't sit next to me because I'm terrible. And I just have always found the humor in things. And I just have always felt, well, I think maybe when I got older, I realized that I didn't want to waste a lot of my time not being happy about things. When I wanted to reserve that for the truly difficult and sad. And day-to-day life, I was going to look at it with a much sunnier disposition and outlook, because I would just reserve it for the other things. Not to say that everyone's, that I'm perfect at that, but there are days when I'm like, not happy, or funny, but I try to bring that as much as possible. But do sit next to me if you're funny.
Well, or I just want to sit next to you anyway. Like,
oh, thanks.
Even if I'm not funny, I'm just going to sit next to you. And
I usually have candy in my purse, so there's that.
Thank you, Ronnie. I love that. And as you know, because I've told you this many times, but right after I met Ronnie last year, I bought her gratitude journal, and I can personally attest to it. I do it. It's part of my morning routine. And I just love that it's fun. I agree with you. Like just the doodles make me happy, you know?
Well, thank you. And I just didn't want to put any more pressure on someone. Like, I believe in gratitude and I believe that we should mark these things down, but it's like, can I just make it easy for you? I just want you to open it up and be happy. So hopefully that happens when you open the book.
Yeah. And it really literally, hold it up again just so people can see the cover. You know, like it's so whimsical that I think it also evokes, like, a lot of times the things that I write they're tiny, simple things too, right? It's kind of like what we were talking about before the panel officially started, right? Like Alan, like, I'm so grateful I saw that big blue bird. That, you know, it doesn't have to be anything. Sometimes in big, you know, serious gratitude journals, it feels like it needs to be something, you know, different than that. So
right. And you know, I keep a journal, like I journal every morning, like just free writing journal. And there are times when I write in that journal, oh, please, anyone from the future, I apologize for being this boring. Because you just like, no one is going to read them. That's not the intention, but I'm like, sorry, everybody, because I got nothing for you here that's brilliant. But in this one, you know, it's really easy. So if someone in my future could look at it and they go, oh, she was grateful for seeing the big blue bird and the lightning, and that's cool, you know, but it's not a big commitment, not a big commitment.
Yes, I love it. I love it. Thank you, Ronnie. And we'll come back. I know you're going to read us a snippet and do some exercise with us around that. So, Alan, hello, hello.
Hello, hello, hello. I resonated with so many things that Ronnie just said that I need to kind of dovetail on them. So first of all, I used to be, maybe I still am, an artist. Now I'm an artist with words, but I used to be a scenic designer at CBS television for about 10 years and did a lot of the major shows. So I knew, like you knew at eight years old that you were an artist. I knew at 7 years old that I was a scenic designer after seeing my first Broadway show. So we have a lot in common there. And the other thing, and I'm going to brag right now, my daughter is an artist. And this very month, July, a lot of you that live here know the tallest building is the Salesforce building. So this month, July, her artwork is like, I don't know, 10 stories high on top of that building every night at midnight. It's all in lights, but she did all the artwork, and it only runs from noon to not noon, midnight to 1 a.m. Every night. So one of these nights, the problem is she's tried to look at it live because she's seen it in kind of rehearsal, but while it's being shown this month, she tried to go down there, and every night it was foggy.
Oh,
You know, she could not see it. So we now have several scouts around the city that have apartments in high places to like say, okay, Sarah, come on down. You can now see it. So we're waiting for one of those nights, and I'll get to see it. But so I'm really proud of her. It's a rare kind of grant that she got to do that. Just a handful of people were selected to do that. So really proud of her, and that she's carrying on the art tradition in the family. So
very cool. That is very cool. Yeah.
that is awesome. Oh, I just said that's awesome. That must have been like I don't know. That's not a Freudian slip. What is that? But
a segue.
Show us your
segue.
book. A segue. Show us your book.
Show us your book.
I know you have many, many, many books.
Yeah, I'm only going to show you this one today. The R Factor. All right. And you see I have many places that I highlight here for myself. I won't read all of them. They're much too long. But
tell us a little bit, Alan. I know you've had a long history of writing, but maybe about this book in particular. So how did this particular book come to be?
You know, a lot of my other books, there was a really specific incident. This one, I think just kind of built up over the years. And a friend of mine, with a really good friend, would say, Alan, you live a charmed life. And I agree with her. I do. And part of it, I think, is noticing. And Ronnie, you talked about gratitude. Yes, I am very grateful for so much in my life. And I find the more I'm grateful for stuff, the more things come into my life for which to be grateful. But what I noticed too is that part of gratitude is also being in awe of everything around you. Like we talked about, what beautiful thing did you see today? And when you can stop and notice the awe, um, you are being grateful and you're being mindful of all the stuff in the world. And I thought, I don't really know of many books that focus on awe. And what I realized doing my research, that emotion, awe, the researchers have only been interested in it in maybe the last 8 to 10 years.
Wow.
So it is kind of a new subject. And I thought, okay, I'm going to write about it. Because of all of the awe moments, when I looked at my life, so many awe, what I consider awe moments. And like we were talking about beauty earlier, that it's in the eye of the beholder. And I think awe is also in the eye of the beholder. Um, but it's all around. I collected lots of stories for the book. I have lots of stories in it. And last part of the book is how to get more awe in your life, because research is finding out how it could help us be happier and healthier.
Oh, yay. And I know you too are going to read us a little something, and we're going to do something practical with it where we get to have some fun. So,
Right.
yeah, thank you, Alan. Thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah. Ronnie, was there anything that you wanted to respond to before you share a little snippet from your book?
No, I think it's interesting, the connection between awesome moments and gratitude. I mean, they're like the opposite sides of the coin. Like
Right.
we can't not see a beautiful sunset and not have our next reaction be, I am so thankful, I am so grateful that I just got to see that sunset. So yeah, totally. And when we miss a lot of them because we're not in tune with noticing those things. And I walk every morning with the dog, and now it's, mosquito heaven. But I look for this one turtle. I don't know if I'm seeing the same turtle. I walk along this creek, and I don't know if I'm seeing the same turtle or there's like 1,000 of them in this creek. I don't know. All I know is I watch for that turtle, and I'm so happy to see that turtle in the mornings. It sort of makes my day. And it's just this simple thing. And like I said, it could be 1,000 of them in there. Don't know. But it just is one of those really simple things that just makes me happy.
Yeah, Ronnie, I think you actually pinpointed maybe more of what my book is about than I've said. It's making people more aware of the awe in their life. That's really, thank you for that. It's really
Oh, sure.
what the send me your
Let's go on
bill.
tour together.
Oh, I love it. Where do you want to go? Excuse us, Sherry. We're gonna have a little
We're
side
just gonna.
conversation.
No, I want to pause so that we can all really take that in, though, because I think that was so important, right? To be aware of the awe that's in our lives. And coupled with what we were talking about earlier, which is that just like beauty, awe is in the eye of the beholder. I mean, there have been so many times where I've just been awestruck really by something. It just stopped in my tracks. And the person next to me is like, oh yeah, that's nice. Like they just don't.
Another sunset. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I have a quick story in the book about a man who wanted to show his son amazing paintings, and he took him to a museum, and the father's, pointing out all these incredible paintings, and the son is like, on his little, phone and doing his little games and not even paying attention and going, You didn't see it.
Didn't see it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's part of, I'm so grateful to you both already, because that was part of my hope with this particular panel, that we would all just start thinking a little bit more, right? About how do we see, how do we see awe? How do we feel gratitude? How do we bring that merriment into our lives? And already I feel like we're starting to uncover some of the secrets. So Ronnie, I know that you're going to read us a little something. You ready?
Yes. It's just it's for the introduction, because I only have like 150 words here. So I'll read like 40 of them. One more little anecdote on the perception thing. I had a conversation, this is years ago, and I never forgot this. So I have always wanted to go to the Grand Canyon. I have yet to go to the Grand Canyon. And I remember we were talking about this, and someone said, yeah, I went there. It's a big hole in the ground. And I'm like, yeah, but it's a really grand hole in the ground, like a grand one. Yes, you're right. It's a hole in the ground. But I want to see that hole in the ground really badly. But anyway, okay.
Oh, wait, could I
Sure.
story related to that? Sorry, Ronnie. So my mom lived in Florida years ago. She's passed, but in a senior residence, and they would have every Saturday night incredible shows for like $2.50. And one night they were having Barbara Cook. I don't know if you know who that is, but a big Broadway star. I've seen her in concerts. I've paid, $100 to go see her. My mom was paying $2.50. And I said, Ma, you should be so excited. She's so great. And my mom says, well, I don't know. All she does is sing. Same,
I would like $2, but for the extra 50 cents, I want a little razzle dazzle. Yeah.
Oh.
All right. I'm reading now.
Let's get we're getting serious, Ronnie.
I'm going to put my serious reading face on now.
I
do. You ready? I do believe in taking a moment each day to reflect on what we are grateful for, a moment to celebrate even the small things in our journeys. Big aha victories don't happen that often, but every day can bring us a little more clarity and a little more insight. A journal helps capture these magical little moments, all those sparkly jewels in your life. And I think that's what recording things and noting things are. It's like the little sparkly jewels along the way. But, we don't all get an Oscar, or we don't all get this giant accolades, but we can have these moments every day where you go, well, that was cool. That was cool. Or that was funny, or that was heartfelt, or whatever. That's why it's important that we remember those, because there are days that you don't. It's like putting like the little jewels in the bank for the days you don't have them.
Ronnie, I love that, because as you were just saying that, I was thinking the same thing. They are jewels in the sense that I will often go back and look through my gratitude journal, and I also make recordings for myself, so I listen to them. And we all know this, right? That we re-experience things, right? We actually literally chemically do. And so when we read from that gratitude journal, it brings back those endorphins and the good feelings and all of that stuff. Just, we get to experience it again. It's like a twofer.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
So did you want to share a little exercise with us right now?
Sure. Okay. So I spent a good chunk of my adulthood in Minnesota. Here's the other thing. I'm Irish, so we can't just tell a story. We have to tell you the whole beginning part of the story. But anyway, and in Minnesota, I always think about this on the 4th of July, because invariably on the 4th of July, at any event you're at, someone will say, well, summer's half over. They just immediately go to, summer is half over, it's 4th of July, it's all downhill from here. This is the way we think. And so I'm like, really? Because I mean, like, it's like July 4th. But anyway, so I was thinking about that of like in Minnesotan, that is like a pivot point. Like, you're thinking in terms of like, okay, now what? So, but on the other hand, it's like, it's half over. So we got to make this count. We're going to make the rest of this summer count because it's going to be winter in no time. And I was thinking about pivot points of points in our life where things could have gone one way or the other. And the gratitude that happens right at that point, that you either made one decision or another, or circumstances changed in the favor of that you could be grateful for. And so, for example, I have a few, but I won't read them all. But I was thinking about by decade. Now, everybody doesn't have to do this by decade. Some people would take far shorter amount of time than the rest of us. But so I was thinking about pivot points that, like, from the before I was 10 years old, my parents, because I was in a big family, they were super happy for me to be drawing, because they could pretty much ignore me. They knew I was safe. They knew I was not in any trouble. I would just draw. And they were like, hey, go ahead and draw, kid. And so if they would have like enriched me more, or if they would have paid more attention, I don't know if I'd be an artist, because I had all that time to draw. So to me, that was a point in my life that could have changed one way or the other. Not that they were neglectful, just in a benign sort of way. In a good, the best part of neglect was like, oh, that kid wants to draw, let her draw. And so, but I think so for me, I had an opportunity and a moment where I had to make a decision when I was in college, and I had a winding road through college, as many of my friends did. And I was sort of close to getting a degree, kind of in something. And there was this opportunity presented that I could go study in England and live in an 11th century castle for a year. Okay, who says no to that? Except I was broke. I was just broke. I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I can barely, feed myself. But when else am I going to get an opportunity to live in an 11th century castle? And so, and it was going to extend how long it was going to take me to get this freaking degree that I'd been working on, forever. But I decided to go to England. And it's not one of those magical stories like, and it all worked out for the best and the money just fell into my lap. No, I worked like a dog. I worked like a dog all the summer before. I worked like a dog the whole time I was in England. But I had a year in England that I never would have done if I would have gone, yeah, maybe I should just get my degree and go work at that shoe store or whatever. But these pivot points, and I am so grateful that I just said, I'm going to England. I will figure this out. And so I think, and so the pivot point is what I'm asking you to look at in your life. At what pivot point could you have gone one way or the other? And that's where the gratitude lives. That's your exercise.
Wow, Ronnie.
Right.
So should we just maybe have just a minute of silence and let people think? Or do we want to just talk about it?
I mean, anybody who's ready can go, or I'll just stare at you for a minute. Done yet? Let's go.
Actually, I'll jump in and people can write while I'm talking.
There you go.
It's interesting because just this morning I received a thank you note from a college friend, and she sent it to a group of us who sort of helped her launch her career. She's been at the same company for 35 years. And one of the things is that I had made the choice after college. I went to a college where 99.9% of the people got these big corporate jobs afterwards. And I was just like a fish out of water there, like the whole time. I don't even know how I ended up there, but I was not going to get a corporate job. But I ended up caretaking for a brownstone in Hell's Kitchen right after college. But I had this whole brownstone and it was just me. And so I invited people to come and stay. Wow. And my friend was one of them. But when she said that thank you note today, it brought back that whole thing for me. And actually like this deep, deep gratitude that not only was I, because I had to struggle a bit, like I was sort of going against the grain. I wasn't doing what was successful. But not only that, but my mom was totally supportive. Right. And that's very unusual for a parent to be like, yeah, go live in Hell's Kitchen and not know what you're going to do after spending 4 years at college so you could get a good job. So it's funny that just came up this morning and it was definitely a pivot. It changed my life. And, she was just acknowledging how it changed her life. So.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Rachel
So
has one. Oh,
I have
I
a pivot
do.
point. Pivot
let's
point.
have Rachel go and then Alan, okay?
Great.
So for me, I got into a program out of Hofstra University right out of high school. They only accepted 100 people a year. It was all on my writing. So excited. They left a huge financial gap, so I couldn't go. So I worked my whole high school to get into this program and, and then couldn't go. And what that led me to do was in my early 20s, I got to travel the whole country being a national sales trainer and flying from place to place. I've been to all but 8 places in the United States because it didn't work out. Then got married, had kids, and went back to school in this similar style of program that I got accepted to in the first place. With all this life experience behind me, and then the added bonus of online libraries, so I could study and research as much as my heart desired without closing libraries and noise and all of that stuff, which made the whole college experience for me fully immersive. And I mean, that was huge for me, is to realize that I was grateful to not get to go to my dream school at 18, and have these amazing life experiences because of that. And then that led to actually the actual dream of my college experience and because of that experience, I had such a diverse college education. It was all on human development, and I was a minor in anthropology, and so it was mostly focused on cultural anthropology during riots and everything that were going on. So I got this full spectrum of understanding that I would have never got if I hadn't had that specific experience at that specific time, which has shaped what I do now. So it's pretty amazing.
That gave me chills. That is quite a story. That is very cool.
Yeah. So that's something I'm very grateful for.
Woo! Thank you. Wow. Thank you, Rachel. Mr. Allen, what have you got as a pivot gratitude?
So I don't know if I told this before we went on air or on air. So if I told it on air, please forgive me, but I'm going to elaborate on it so you'll hear a little more. So when I was 7 years old, my parents took me to see my first Broadway show. And I sat so well through that performance. 2 weeks later, we went to see another show, but we came in late. And at the end of the show, I did not want to leave. I felt like a movie. I could just sit there and it would start again, So my parents, are direct, come on, Alan, we got to leave. No, I'm not leaving. And they tell me they had to drag me out of the theater. But that was a pivotal point because from that day on, I wanted to make those pretty stage pictures. I didn't even know what it was called. It was called being a scenic designer. I didn't know that at the time. And I would just take a shoebox or cigar box and I would make little pretty dioramas, little scenes in them. And so I did that. And then finally I got through college and got into Yale Drama School. It's a 3-year master's. And at the end of the first year, they said I didn't have much talent and they asked me to leave. So I was really heartbroken. But when I look back.
Hello, Yale.
Hello. Yeah, right. No, it turned out well, actually. Because when I look back, what happened was I went back to New York City when I had after a year at Yale, went back to New York City, got into the Scenic Design Union as an apprentice, and then passed the test. And my fellow classmates in design was still at Yale doing college productions, and I was designing national television, Jackie Gleason, Merv Griffin, Captain Kangaroo. And so again, it was a pivotal point because I thought, what if I was still at Yale? I made, who knows, I would have been working in some college after graduating. I don't know. So that was kind of a pivotal point. And also going back to when my parents took me to my first show, I thought, what if they took me to a wrestling match? Who knows? So that one little incident taking me to a live show changed the whole beginning of my adult life.
Oh, Alan.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
yeah,
This is fun. Ronnie, thank you for this amazing prompt.
great. Yeah.
Does anybody else want to share?
Shelby is thinking.
I could tell. She's doing that looking up, thinking thing.
I am. I'm thinking of a couple different. I mean, the first one that comes to mind is choosing where I went to college, because all throughout high school, I wanted to go to an out-of-state college. Because I thought that was the cool thing to do, to get out of your state. And I don't know, I was wanting to be rebellious and get as far away as possible. And now I'm almost 25 and I still live with my parents and I love it. But when I was 18, I just wanted to get far away. And yeah, and so I don't know, I guess it was choosing where I went to college, and I eventually chose to go to an in-state college. And I had just the absolute best college experience. Like I made my lifelong friends, and it strengthened my relationship with my best friend from middle school. We went to the same college, and then we rushed the same sorority, which we didn't know the other one was. And so our relationship just got stronger and stronger. And then I made just like these amazing friends, and I had a really great experience, and I got a degree that somehow made Mango want to hire me. And so it led me here. And so I just think about, I was so close to going, like so very close to going to a different college. And I think about that all the time, how different my life would be. But I'm very, very glad. I'm very happy with my decision. And so that's when I think about like a pivotal moment, that's the first thing that comes to my mind.
Oh, and aren't we lucky that somehow that moment led you here?
Oh my gosh.
I love
Well, and I
that.
think we're seeing too that there's sometimes these moments are wrapped in initial disappointment,
Yeah.
and then become like, oh, well, that was probably better, but we don't know that at the time. And and some things would have turned out just fine.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not sure if Alan going to the wrestling match would have been a good career move. However, who knows? It could have changed wrestling forever.
Yeah,
forever.
right. Or I could have been a manager of the wrestlers or something. Who knows? I don't know.
Who knows?
Or it could have
Well, we
been,
know the sets would have been fabulous, but
Yeah, they were.
sometimes those choices, like for me, like I think the college I chose, it was so, I wanted to be part of a creative tribe, and this, and I think what happened is it was such the opposite that was the best choice, because it helped me to set off on my own path, and to actually, I was actually forced to make that choice. So I think sometimes, that can happen too, by those wrong choices. Oh,
Sure.
this is so great. I loved that. I want to make sure that we get to, because Alan also has something fun for us to do, I know. But first,
Well,
did you
yes.
want to read
Yes.
to us from your book?
First you want me to read from the book? Okay. Before I read from the book, somebody in conversation said, not everybody gets an Oscar. And I just want to say you're wrong, because I have an Oscar.
that's the best Oscar ever.
What'd you get that Alan, what'd you get that Oscar for?
Actually, I follow Unity Spiritual Centers, and I was president for a number of years. And I put on a fundraiser, and it actually made money. And up to that time, all their fundraisers had lost money. So I got an Oscar for being the first one to raise money at a fundraiser. Anyhow, I chose two passages from the book, but I'm just going to read one. Okay, this is called The Refrigerator. I was listening to a radio show the other day in which three men who had been in prison for at least 5 years were about to be released. The reporter asked all of them the same question. What are a few things you are looking forward to when you get out of prison? Most of them replied with what one might expect from someone who had been incarcerated to say, spending time with my family, unquote, quote, going to a baseball game, unquote, quote, seeing my friends again, quote. But one prisoner said something that took me by surprise. The thing he was looking forward to the most was to open the refrigerator. How many times a day do we open the refrigerator without thinking about it? Yet here was a young man who was looking forward to this simple, everyday act, bringing him great joy. After hearing him say that, I realized that there was deeper meaning in his answer. It revealed his restricted freedom and lack of control of his own life while being locked up. He couldn't get any food or drink whenever he wanted. His meals and his choice of what he ate were mandated by others. Even getting up and getting a glass of milk or a cold soda was denied. Is it any wonder then that for this man, even the thought of simply opening the refrigerator was awe-inspiring?
Wow.
And I love that story because it shows us that it doesn't have to be that big hole, that Grand Canyon. That everyday objects could be, something that could awe us. So my exercise goes along with that, and that is wherever you are right now, just look around. I know you're not out in nature probably, but look around and find something that kind of calls out to you. And just if you could hold that, do so. So
Wow.
pick up something that maybe calls out to you. And now I'd like you to take like a minute and just really look at it. Really look at it and see if there are things that you've never noticed before. Okay, why don't we come back and anybody want to share? Well, I'll share. I'll set the scene. So I picked up my eye drops, my little package of eye drops, and I've never noticed that there was a number on the back, 45516 US 11. It doesn't say what it is about. It doesn't say like expiration date. It doesn't say anything except this number. And so I've never noticed that before. And now it's like this little, what is that thing? What does it mean? Who knows what it means? Is it a secret code? Is it? And it just set off all these thoughts in my playful thoughts in my mind. So, I don't have to make much of it, but it's something I've never noticed. And I think if you look for stuff, you will find stuff that you've never seen and maybe even get more awe in your life because you never realized that was there.
Yeah.
Anybody want to share what they found?
I do.
Go,
Yes.
Ronnie.
Okay. Next to me, I have this little box next to my spot on the couch that has sketchbooks and things. And this is my little travel, like dollar store pouch. and it's got this zany donut that says treat yourself on it. And it was like $1, and but it's super cute, and it says treat yourself, which is a really good thing to be a reminder of, even though we don't take advice necessarily from Dollar Tree items. But I unzipped it. It's like my travel art supplies. And I unzipped it, and the smell of pencils, it smells like pencils, which to me smells like possibility. And so it's way more than a bag full of pencils and markers and things. It's like a bag of possibilities.
And I noticed that the donut is really a smiley face.
It is, and it's got little arms and legs. I mean, it's insane.
Yeah.
Yes, it's like the happiest donut ever.
But it has a little nose too. Did you notice the nose?
No, I guess that's a nose. Yeah, there's
Well,
two eyes
for
there.
Me,
Here, see the
those
lighting?
are two. I see this.
Two eyes, yeah.
It's the eyes. Okay, no nose. Sorry. Sometimes you notice what's not there.
Well, I can see it too. So yes, but a bag of possibilities.
I love that. That was so fun. Does somebody else want to go? Rachel?
Of my sparkly butterfly. And what I didn't notice was that in the inner wings here is a it's super soft thread. So it's like super soft and fragile feeling. So it's like and it just reminded me of as beautiful as a butterfly is, and as amazing and colorful and sparkly as they can be, they still have this fragile sense to them that makes, that vulnerability part of what makes them shine. So.
Wow.
I go deep.
Super. I love that. Well, I'll share. I have this thing. I don't know if you guys have ever seen this thing, but it's so small, right? It's like it doesn't weigh hardly anything. And yesterday, my mom's voice came out of this. I could talk to her. And this morning, somebody was teaching me Portuguese. And also today, I connected with a friend from high school. She sent me a photograph that came across on this thing. It's like unbelievable. I looked up a word I didn't know. It's just like magic.
It is magic.
It's truly magical. Sitting right here on my desk. It's probably worth millions and billions of dollars, but it's just right here on my desk.
Love it.
Very cool.
So look closer. Example I have is I was in Holland a number of years ago, and we went to Keukenhof Gardens, and they plant 7 million bulbs every year, mostly tulips. And nearly every time we turned a corner, there was like an awe moment, because the shapes and the colors and the patterns and tulips I've never seen before. And then I looked closer at the tulip, and the colors were beautiful. But what really awed me is when I looked inside the tulip, when I got really close, because the colors in there and the shapes were like a bursting sun inside, this yellow, and then the white and the red pattern coming out of that. And it was just amazing. So sometimes you really have to look close, I think, to find the awe in everything almost. Or here, this flower from my garden that I took a photo of. And when you look closer, look at the veins. Can you see that? Look at the yellow with the veins of the flower. And somebody I put it on Facebook, and somebody said it looks like a dancing flower. So my tip is look closer.
Yeah, I'm interested if anybody else would be willing to share. This is so fun. I love hearing.
Well, the object in my room that I was kind of drawn to was the candle I have burning. So I actually didn't hold it in my hands, but I looked at it.
Safety
and-
first.
Yes, safety first. But I'm looking at it, and I love candles so much. You know, I just love having different scents and just like the little flames dancing. It's just such a comforting thing to look at. But I guess just for the first time, I noticed that the candle holder that I have that I love, the little shapes make a bunch of hearts. And I've never noticed that before. And it makes sense why I would, because I love, you know, I love anything that has hearts on it. It's just
Oh.
such a comfort. And I never really noticed that before, but I've had that candle holder for probably easily 5 years, and I've just always loved it, but I've never really noticed that actually it makes little heart shapes. And it's just, yeah. So it's just like another thing that just kind of brings me a little bit of, or a lot of joy, actually, not even a little bit, a lot.
It's so cool that you just noticed that they were hearts.
Yeah, like just now, like I'm looking, yeah, when Alan's like, try to find something, you know, different, and I'm like, I mean, it's the candle that, wait a second, like, oh my God.
Hey,
So yeah, looking closer can bring more awe. Like, who would have thought? Alan
Right.
would have.
Right.
Love that too, because it's a game that I play with myself sometimes, especially like in the house, or if I'm sitting somewhere where I've been many, many times, is that I'll challenge myself to see something that I haven't seen, you know. So, you know, especially like, you know, in my studio where I always am or something, it's like, what have you not seen? And just like Alan's saying, right? Or it's amazing. Like
Yeah.
that's been there in front of my eyes and I've never seen it. Yeah.
Yeah. And the comment about finding the hearts. Before COVID, I took a class. It was like a 2-week class, and every day they gave us a prompt to find something, whatever they mentioned, in your life that day. And so one day it was hearts. And I walked my dog 3 times a day, and I never noticed that I had planted morning glories around my gate in the front of the house. And every day I walked in and out of the gate, never noticing that every leaf was heart-shaped. So
Love
Wow.
that.
sometimes it's just put that intention in your mind that you want to find this. I want to find awe, um, and you will. Yeah.
I love that, Alan. And I think that that's it's like such a fun game to play, which is, you know, my boyfriend and I have done that sometimes where we've made a list of things before we go out in the world. And maybe it's just, you know, 10 or 15 things, a blue elephant or the word yes or whatever. And then, you know, we look for them. And, you know, it does bring this sense of wonder. Like, are we creating this, or is the world just, you know, like we all
Particularly when the blue elephant walks across your path, that you definitely conjured up.
Well, how about I find money all the time when I'm walking my dog, all the time. Some people don't find money. I find money. A couple of years ago, I found $100 bill on the street near me. But one day I thought, Alan, you find so much money. I just challenged myself. Can you find a specific amount of money? So that day I thought, I want to find a quarter, not a dime, not a nickel, not a penny. I want to find a quarter. So I took my dog out. I didn't find a quarter. I didn't find any money. But the next morning I found, guess what? A quarter. So I told this to a friend. He said, oh, that's baloney, you know. And I said, okay, you don't believe it. I believe it. And I find the money. I was actually at a conference. So the conference is over and he was saying goodbye and he says, put up your palm up and close your eyes. And I did. And he put something in. Now open your eyes. It was a penny. I said, why are you giving me a penny? He said, well, I didn't believe what you said, but I thought I would try it. And I thought, he said, I want to find a penny. And this is what I found. So I don't know, intention, you know, my TEDx talk is on intention. So I believe in it, gratitude and intention, intend to you set out intention that this is going to be a happy hour, and it was, you know, and we laughed a lot, I think, and were more joyous than when we started. And you started that intention when you put out the Facebook announcements.
Right.
thank you.
I
There's
love
more.
that. I
Yes,
love
there's
that.
more merriment.
I do, like, I feel really merry. It's not a word I use very much, but it's so true, isn't it? One of my favorite quotes is Bill Cunningham, who was a photographer in New York. He took fashion shots from the street. And
Right.
Bill Cunningham said, those who seek beauty are sure to find it. And I feel like that's what we've been doing today, right? Those who seek awe, or those who seek to feel grateful, or those who seek beauty or merriment, you do find it, or you create it if you don't find it. I thank you both so much. And I'm just wondering, as we're closing out this circle, Ronnie and Alan, did you want to leave us with any, like, this is what I just want to say before we go?
I'd like to go ahead.
Go, Alan.
I'll give you time to think. I'd like to quote Einstein that I've been partial to these days. And he said, there are two ways to live your life. One is though nothing is a miracle. The other is as if everything is a miracle. That's it.
That's enough. That's so great.
I love that. And I can't add anything to Einstein except to say that I am so grateful to be here with you guys. This was really, really lovely. And thank you, Sherry, for being such a wonderful host.
I just had so much fun. I thank you guys. And thank you, those of you who showed up, those who shared stories, or your presence, or your smiles. I mean, again, like, let's go back to what we started with. It's like, do you see something beautiful? And again, look at these faces, like, awe-inspiring. So thank you all so much, and hope to see you again. Have a great week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye,
Bye,
everyone.
everyone.
Thanks.